guys, it's Carla. Today I'm working on a canvas panel with acrylic paint. I've got white, yellow medium, permanent red, phthalo blue, and burnt umber. And if you saw last week's tutorial, I was showing you how to draw this on from looking at the reference photo and dividing it into sections. So I did 9 equal sections on my canvas and on my reference photo, and then just drew out one section at a time. So it makes it easier to not get too overwhelmed with the whole drawing, because you're only concentrating on just one little section that only has maybe a few lines in it. So then I went over the outline with paint and let that dry, and then covered it with a thin coat of red, just watered down red. So now all of it's dry, and I'm going to go ahead and paint. And what I've decided to do is, on the drawing, I went with the reference photo and kind of drew out everything I saw. But now I'm going to kind of go rogue and do my own thing. Change it up a little bit, because there's things that I would like to be different. Alright, so what I'm going to do is start with, this is just a synthetic flat brush, just a small one. And I'm going to go ahead and get in some of my base colors. So like on this window, I just want it to be really dark, in the door. And you'll notice that in different areas I'll be changing the shape of things and the colors and all that. I'll go ahead and block in my tree, which again will be different once it's done, but this is just the base coat. Alright, maybe I'll go ahead and put a base coat on the water. Notice I'm keeping my brush strokes really loose. I don't want this to look uptight, and don't want it to look like a photograph. I want it to look like a painting, so I want it to be painterly. So that's just the base coat on the water. I'll go ahead and put the base coat on the sky too, which will be a little bit lighter than the water. Again, very loose brush strokes, very choppy. And maybe toward the top, I want it a little bit darker, just to kind of draw the eye into the painting. And the sky, when you look at the sky, it typically is darker toward the top, and then when you get down to the horizon, it's usually lighter. Okay, now I've got a mountain range back here. I've got several mountain ranges actually, or hills or whatever, but I think I'm going to get rid of some of it because it seems too busy or something. So I'm going to change up the flavor of this a little bit. So this is my most distant mountain, or hill, or whatever it is. So I'm turning both of these into one. I'm getting rid of that one little section there. And then as it gets closer, it's going to get a little darker and a little greener. So now I can start putting sky holes in my tree. Or I guess they're not sky holes, they're mountain holes, but this kind of leaves, it makes it look like like you can kind of see through the branches and stuff. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start on my building. And so my sun is going to be coming from, my light is going to be coming from this side. So all of this, like the shadows, will be cast in that direction. So all of this will be shaded and this will be highlighted. So for the highlighted side, and this is just a base color. I can always come back and change it. And then this is the dark side, the shaded side. And I know right now it kind of all looks too one-dimensional and too solid, but the highlights and the shadows will fix that. Okay, now right under this eave, it's going to be shaded even though this is the sunny side. And now I can start adding some highlights. So I'm not covering up all of the base color, I'm just highlighting it. So now I'm just creating a highlight color for this dark side. And I'm just tapping it in so that some of that base color still shows through. So maybe up here it goes this way. Like the boards are going in a different direction. So these are vertical, and these are horizontal. Bring a little bit of this over here. Alright, I'm going to switch to my larger brush. And this is a synthetic angle brush, and it'll just, I can use that tip to get into smaller places, but I've also got the large part to cover these big areas. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting my ground in. I want my ground to be fairly light because my barn is dark. This way it'll show up good. Again, I'm ignoring my reference photo. I'm just making this up on my own. And if I mess up my fence, I can always put it back in. And then more sky holes or ground holes or whatever. All right, now a little bit different shade. Just kind of darken it up a little bit and get this area in right here. It's just a kind of a lower, in my mind anyway, a lower area. And this right here is a cast shadow from the barn. So the light's coming from back here and it's casting a shadow kind of up the hill a little bit. I'm just making up these ground colors as I go. Just tapping in some of this color so I can come back and put in different shades and a little bit of texture. Alright, so now this foreground, I want it to be different colors and different, like a lot of texture in it. So I'm going to get very loose with it. A little bit of color in places. I'm just going back and forth with my colors until I'm happy with it. All right, now down here, it's going to be darker because you're seeing the kind of the side of the bank. And the same thing on this side. I'm gonna see. Like right here, you don't see it because this hill is covering it up, but right here you're seeing the side of the bank. Okay, my barn is dry. I can come back and highlight it some more. So the watered down yellow, let's see what that does. Maybe a little touch of white in it, just to make it brighter and more opaque. All right, now under the barn, it's kind of sitting on stilts. This eave needs to be darker. Well, I've got that on my brush. And maybe the window and the door, darken them up a little bit. And actually, in the reference photo, there's windows over here, and I can go ahead and they're just very rough windows. All right, now back here, I've got plenty of texture in these areas right here, but back here I think I need more. So maybe just a very light green. darken up my shadow right here, the cast shadow from the barn. And I feel like it would be fairly dark underneath the barn. I'm going to use the tip of my brush to put a little bit of a highlight on the windowsill. And then a little bit darker for this windowsill. And maybe there's a, right here where the boards come together, maybe it's more defined. Maybe, again, I'm just making this up as I go, but I want to kind of define some things that are not real defined in the reference photo. Okay, I've just noticed that I really don't want my roof to be that color because it's too close to the ground color, so I'm gonna make it more of a rusty red. And it's that easy to just change your mind and change your painting. All right, now here and there, I'm just going to put in some dark ground areas. Just to give it more character and dimension. So maybe right here it's really low. So there's going to be darker areas in it. Okay. Now, down here in the water, there's going to be a reflection of this bank. So just kind of a slight reflection in the water. Nothing precise, just the indication that it's reflecting into the water. Now I'm going to have to put out some more yellow. Because up here, I want it to be lighter. Alright, now I need to work on this reflection, the reflection of this bank over here. But I want to make sure that I've got the colors right first in the grass. I think I want a little pop of color over here. This will bring the barn roof color out into the painting a little bit. So now this reflection is going to be a little warmer. Alright, now up here, I'm going to switch to my smaller brush. Up here, it's really deep right there, so like the ground comes way up, so it's going to, because my light is coming from over here, it's going to shade that right there. So I need a shadow color. So all of that is kind of in shadow. And then my water can have some highlights in it. Not up here where the shadow is. I'm going to keep that dark, but and when I'm putting in these highlights in the water, I want to keep my brush strokes horizontal. Now I want a really dark, almost black color, because I want to make sure that the deepest parts are dark enough to where they look deep. Like right here under the bank. Right where the land meets the water, it's going to be the darkest. It looks like there's some shadow in this fence area. I'm going to go ahead and indicate that. Because right now is the time when I want to look around and see if there's any little touch-ups I can do. And touch-ups usually involve highlights and shadows. Alright, now it looks like my tree needs some attention. So this left side is going to be more highlighted. And it'll get darker toward the bottom and toward the right. At this point, I'm just playing around with my painting and seeing what I can change or make better. Like this hilltop needs to be lighter. In fact, the sun's hitting it right there, so it actually needs to be more yellow. Oh yeah, that brightens it up a lot. I like that. That made my barn pop more too. I think I'll put that tree line in that I remember it had in the drawing. And maybe it's darker down here. And then gets lighter as it comes up. And maybe there's even some fog down here. Let's try to create some fog. I'm just using the tip of my brush and going in tiny little circles. And this is just in this valley right here at the foot of the mountain. I want to make sure that wherever the sun is hitting, that it's obvious. Maybe I want a little more red in the barn. And you know what I could do? This just occurred to me. Take my round brush and make this an apple tree. Let's see what that looks like. And it's too far in the distance to make any detail like highlights and stuff on the apples, so I'm just going to leave them like that. See if I see anything else. All right, I think that does it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, God bless you.